how can you plan sketch notes if what you're doing is capturing ideas in real time? Things that you have never heard about, things that nobody told you about. Maybe you didn't even know the speaker. You don't even know the topics that they're going to talk about. How could you even plan that? Now, that's a question. There's a myth that people have, and they say, it just can't be done. They think that because it's organic, you can't plan them. But the reality is the opposite. If it was true that we cannot plan what's organic and what's spontaneous, that we wouldn't plan anything. I have no idea what this year is it's gonna bring, but I still making plans in my business and in my personal life and personal goals because I care about achieving them and I care about not losing time thinking about or being distracted about other stuff to not accomplish them. So let's say that you want to plan a trip to France and you see all the things, or you make a list of all the things that you want to do, all the places you want to visit, and then you take that plane and then you go there, but maybe the flight is delayed, and maybe when you arrive you get sick, and maybe the weather sucks and you cannot go to the buildings that you wanted to see. There's two kinds of people who will react very differently. One of them would be the kind of person that is like, okay, I made a plan, it didn't work, but I still made some research about certain things that could happen, so I'll pivot, I'll do something else. I'll do my best and I'll make it work. And then there's the other kind of people that maybe they didn't even plan the trip. They just bought the ticket and then just going. They just, YOLO. So they might have a good experience in certain things and they might encounter opportunities along the way that are interesting, but they may also miss out on other things that they needed to plan in advance. They needed to reserve tickets to go to a certain museum and now they're booked, or there was a festival and they didn't plan ahead, so they went the wrong week, stuff like that. The purpose of this, or the idea behind this, is that yes, you can plan for things even if they don't work out exactly as you plan them. The point of a plan is not that it happens exactly as you plan it. The point of the plan is that you have a guide that can help you reduce decision fatigue. Because when you're doing sketch notes, you're thinking about hierarchy, you're talking about, listening, color, composition, you're thinking about navigation, you're thinking about concepts and metaphors. It's just so much to think about while you're doing it live. Add to that, thinking about where to put stuff so that it's balanced, so that it looks nice. It's just too much. So planning your sketch notes, planning your layouts will help you reduce the decision fatigue, and it's going to help you feel more confident when you approach this practice. Now, I'm going to teach you only one thing. This topic is very vast, but I only have 20-30 minutes, so I'm only going to teach you one thing about it, but I'm sure it will change the way that you see sketch notes, and it will change the way that you plan ahead and think about how to approach this practice. I'm going to explain first the concept, and then you're gonna pause the video, and there's some exercises that I sent in advance that you can download, and I want you to do those exercises on that time while the video is paused. You're gonna take around 12 to 15 minutes to finish that, and then you're gonna come back, press play, and use the template that I provided to capture and do a sketch note. Very simple, don't get super fancy, of a short talk that I'm gonna share with you, and the topic of it is related to what we're talking, so you're gonna still be learning. So I want you to feel the difference of how it feels when you approach a sketch note, when you already know where you're gonna put the information, versus having to think all over, where do I put this? I don't know. Let's see how the experiment goes. I hope it's very useful for you, but at least the concept is gonna help you rethink the way that you approach it. All right, let's get to it. If you're watching this video, it's because you have a problem, and it's that you are running out of space on your sketch notes. Most likely, you don't realize how much time has passed, and then the information is just crowded in one part or the other, and it makes your sketch notes look unbalanced, crowded, hard to read, and that is not good. So let's see why this happens, and I'm gonna teach you one tip that is gonna help you plan ahead to prevent that. Now, one of the 3 signs of a successful layout is visual balance. So you're gonna start thinking about a sketch note and its shapes and the components of it as having weight, visual weight, psychological weight. And when everything is in its right place, it just feels like it's like floating, it's right of balance. But if something is too crowded, then it's just kind of like tilted on one direction. It feels like it's just coming off. Michelangelo, the famous sculptor and painter and all that, he was asked like how did he come up with ideas for his sculptures, and he just said humbly that the sculpture was inside the rock. He just shaved the excess. Right, he was a genius. But anyway, the point is this: he saw things contained within the rock, within a shape, and we're gonna think about our paragraphs, our words, and our images as being contained inside shapes. Kids will read words letter by letter. That's why they're so slow at it. They're learning how to do that. But adults, you and I, we see words as shapes. Our brain interprets the shape, recognizes it, and gets the meaning. So we get the gist out of one word, or even like a sentence, in one glance. We're going to take advantage of that to understand words and paragraphs as shapes. That shapes that have visual weight. The bigger they are, the heavier they are. And we're gonna distribute them around. Now, your number one job is to choose or set up the limit of ideas and images that you're gonna use on your sketch note. I know you're gonna feel resistance towards this because you want to capture all the content, but constraints create freedom. And when you say, I'm just gonna capture this amount of ideas based on the time that I have, believe me, your life gets easier. Now, the second job that you're going to have is to distribute the weight when you're planning your layout. So it's like a seesaw, right? You want to make sure that there's equal amount of balance in each, or weight in each of the sides of the sketch note. And here's how you do it. You think of images and text as building blocks, and you use the system that layout designers have used forever. They have a shape. It could be a circle or a square. I prefer to just use a circle. And they put an X on it, and the X signifies this is where an image is going to go. And a simple square with nothing inside means this is where text is going to go. So how you're going to plan your sketch note first is you're going to create a grid. And in that grid, you're going to divide it in quadrants and going to make some math, little math, and say, if this is a talk that is 60 minutes, I have to spend 15 minutes in each of the quadrants. And the talk that I'm going to give after this, the short message that I'm going to share with you, it's 12 minutes. So you're going to spend 3 minutes on each of the quadrants. Have a timer right next to you so you can know where you are in terms of pacing. So you're not running too fast or capturing too much information too quickly, or going too slow and like feeling left behind. The second thing that you're going to do is you're going to reserve space for drawings and text. Think about it like when you do like wedding planning and then you decide who's going to sit where. It's exactly the same. Your guests are going to be those text and those images that you're going to invite into your canvas. And then you're going to decide where are they going to be seated. And one way that you can do it, very simple, is just kind of alternate shapes. So you put one image and one text, one image. And so it goes, but it was very blocky. It was like super, structured. So to spice it up, I suggest that some of those images, you make them bigger. So you create that visual appeal of like things are kind of more organic. And you can decide in advance, here's where a big image is going to go, here's where a small image is going to go. And that will help you out. Now, at this point, I want you to take your practice sheet and explore the possibilities with the thumbnails. Make at least 8 of them. Make more the better, because that way your creative juices start to explore new possibilities, which is super fun. And then you're going to come back and use the template that I give you to capture the information of the talk that I'm going to share with you. You're going to use that template. Now, don't feel like you have to capture everything. Just capture what you can with the amount of ideas that I designated already for you, and don't worry about the rest. So I want you to experience how it feels when you can put something in the space that it was allocated. It's not gonna be super polished or anything like that. It's just for the purposes of understanding how it feels when you plan it ahead. All right, let's do it. What would you do if you had no fear? Me? Probably be dead. I have this weird thing that when I'm at a high place, like a mountain or even an airplane, I feel this idea of how cool would it be if I could just jump and fly. And I know it's absurd. And if I had no fear, I would have done it, and I wouldn't be here. So fear is not a bad thing. Honestly, it keeps us alive. The thing is, you have to understand it. Now, here's how I understand fear. All feelings are valid. So the problem is not fear itself. Fear is there to protect you. But the thing is that fear doesn't respond to logic. If you tell a kid that is afraid of the dark, that there's nothing to fear of the dark, that nothing has ever happened in the dark to them, and they're gonna be okay, they might understand it logically, but they still will be afraid of it. Like, take people who are afraid of spiders or are afraid of bumblebees. Like, they don't sting, but there's no logic in that. You cannot control the emotion. You can only manage it, and that's the main thing. The problem, again, is not fear. The problem, when you're afraid to do something and that cuts you or that prevents you from attempting good things in life and growth in life, and even on your sketch notes, the problem is lack of purpose, lack of a plan, lack of support, and lack of practice. So all those things are the ones that will help you conquer your fear if you address them. Now let's start with purpose. A lack of purpose is one of the biggest things that will contribute to you being afraid of things, and that fear cutting you off from the life that you want to live or the things that you want to accomplish. So how you inject purpose to conquer that fear? The first one is to have a selfless purpose. And a selfless purpose is essentially to be helpful for the sake of being helpful to other people. When I became a parent and I had my son in my arms, something very deep dawned on me. I was like, this kid is absolutely useless right now. He cannot do anything by himself. He cannot feed himself. He cannot dress himself. He cannot go to the potty by himself. He needs me for everything to keep him alive. And when you have the realization, you realize, I don't care if I don't feel completely adequate or prepared to be a parent. I might be afraid of being a parent, but that doesn't matter anymore, because my purpose is to help this human that depends completely on me. So I'm going to do anything in my power and everything that I can in my power to help this creature. Now, that is a very extreme example. But when you feel that sense of selflessness, because you just want to be helpful, somehow fear just kind of vanishes. It transforms into purpose. And for example, layouts. Like, if you learn layouts, it's like, I might be afraid of them. But if you think of this of like, I approach it and I try to do it because I want to help people communicate information clearly. I don't want my sketch notes to be more noise. I want them to be actually useful. Then that selfless purpose will help you conquer the fear of trying them out. Now, there's another kind of purpose that is also good. That is a selfish purpose. And I know selfish may have a bad connotation, but let me explain what I mean by that. Selfish purpose means that you're just doing something for improvement's sake. You're not doing it to get an applause or for people to admire you and say that you're super cool or whatever. You're just doing like Ash Ketchum from Pokemon, who just wanted to be the very best that ever was, just for the sake of being the very best that ever was, right? He didn't want to just have a lot of money or anything like that. He just wanted to be really good at his skill of catching Pokemon, right? In your case, in my case, we can learn from that and we can make it a game. We can make it a game to accomplish new things, to improve at things. And when we have that selfish purpose of it, this is just for improvement, you're not afraid of it because it's a game. And a game is more fun the better you get and the more levels you accomplish. And you want to keep playing the game because it just feels good to do it. So that's a selfish purpose that you can inject to conquer fear. I'm just gonna do it for the fun of it and for the sake of improvement. Now, let's talk about the second one, which is having a plan. A lack of plan will make you more fearful and will make it harder for you to accomplish things. The contrary is also true. A plan will give you clarity. Essentially, it's going to tell you this is what's going to happen. And when you know what's going to happen, there's no uncertainty, so there's no worry. Say that I just run on the street to a stranger and tell them, hey, see you on the party on Saturday, bye. They're like, what? Do I know you? Like, what party? Like, was it? There's all these questions that start to come up. Maybe you think, oh, going to a party would be nice, but I'm not sure I will go to a party of somebody that I just met, like, and if I go, like, where do I go? Like, I don't know where it is. I don't know what time. There's all these questions that just create anxiety and indecision. But if I come to a friend and I tell this friend, hey, I'm going to see you on Saturday, come to the party and it's here and this is how it's going to be. This is the people who are going to show up. Like all that information that is already planned will help me make a decision of whether I want or not to go. So a plan gives you clarity, which helps you conquer that fear. Now, let's say using this layout, I explained, how much time you need to spend in certain areas and all that. And you don't have to wonder now if you're being too slow or too fast. Like we're about 7 minutes, so you should be already covering half of the board because there's clarity on that. You know where you stand. Now, the second thing that a plan does is reduces your decisions. It's kind of similar, but the first one is like, what's going to happen. And because you know what's going to happen, then you don't have to make that many decisions, which reduces anxiety. It's like WALL-E, the movie WALL-E, where he got this fork and he didn't know if he had to put it on the forks or the spoon category. He was like, I don't know what to do. If you have too many decisions of where to put things, for example, in your layout, then you'll get overwhelmed. But the focus on knowing, okay, I just have to put information in this thing. You don't have to make a decision, so you can focus on distilling information, or you can focus on creating, a drawing or coming up with metaphors and all that stuff. Now, the next thing that you need to conquer your fear is support. This is so important, especially here in the Western countries in which we were so individualistic. We think like it's all for ourselves, and we're in our homes just doing our thing. We don't really interact with so many people. Support is super important because support gives you strength. When I moved to the United States, I was all alone. I came here to do a master's degree and I had no group of friends or family here, but I had a group of friends and family back in Costa Rica who were super supportive of what I was doing. So I could message them, I could talk with them, and the fact that they had my back, that I had their support, made me less afraid and more excited of the opportunity of being in the United States by myself. So support can give you the strength that you need to conquer your fear. The other thing that support does is it gives you insight, and this is priceless. Sometimes we're afraid just because we lack important information. Man, you don't know what you don't know. I don't know what I don't know. There's some blind spots in us. And when there's somebody who is a coach or a mentor or just a wise friend who can give us some advice, they can fill in the gaps and show us that it's not that bad. Like maybe that fear of the dark is not fear of the dark. It's just fear because the dark is not letting us see what's in there. But if they shed some light, we're going to see, oh, this is just a room. There's nothing in here, right? So that support can give us insight. Now, let's go to practice. This is one of my favorites. Practice can help you conquer your fear of doing things and makes you more courageous because practice creates evidence. So if I tell you, hey, there's an event tomorrow in a super mega conference, there's gonna be like 8,000 people in there, and I want you to go and do a sketch note on a stage in front of everybody with cameras and all that, and this is the first time that you're gonna do a sketch note in your life. How will you feel? Like, yeah, the opportunity sounds great and maybe will pay it well, but because you've never done it, of course the fear will be super high. But if you've been doing it like for 8 years, 6 years, like me, then it's just a normal day. There's evidence that you have done it before, and now you can do it because it's just natural. The other thing that practice does, of course, is proficiency, because everything that you do compounds. So the more you practice something, the more permanent it is, so the faster you improve on the next building block. So those are the things that I want you to have in your arsenal when you're encountering fear of doing something. So ask yourself, what is my purpose with doing this? Do I have a selfish purpose or a selfless purpose that I can inject into this to be more courageous? The second thing is, what can I plan about this? In the sketch note, you can plan where the text and where the images are going to go. You can totally do that, and that will help you reduce the fear of a blank canvas and of the experience of doing sketch notes live. The third thing is, where can I get support for this? Where can I get support of me as a person, just having encouragement, or just the insight to learn more from the things that I don't know yet? And the fourth thing is, what do I need to practice more? Because it's not a matter of seeing, am I good or bad at something? It's just a question of, what can I practice more to get better at that? Now remember, fear is not the enemy. Fear is not bad. Fear is just an emotion that you cannot control, you can only manage. So don't try to calm down, just redirect it with a purpose, with a plan, with support, and with practice, and that will help you conquer your fear the next time it shows up. Thank you for attending this workshop. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you get a lot of value out of it. Now, before you go, there's a QR code somewhere here. I haven't decided where to put it. And when you scan it, it's gonna give you information and multiple links to engage with me. So there's a few things. One, if you haven't followed me on social media, you can follow me there. We can connect and chat and be friends. And you can also see information of upcoming workshops that I have. I'm gonna be doing some in-person workshops in Atlanta and in Europe. And there's also my newsletter where I give you more information about things upcoming. And there's also free materials for you to keep practicing this that you learned today in this workshop. If you share this on social media, it would be awesome if you tag me so that I can see the work that you did and celebrate with you. And that's about it. Happy World Sketch Note Day and happy sketching, my friend. See you around. Bye.